Breaking the Wall to Disability Inclusion in Science and Space. Anna Voelker, SciAccess, United States.
Raise your hand if you've ever dreamed of going to space. Don't be shy. Okay, so most of the people in this room. Well, for the 16% of humans who have some type of disability, they have been told that this categorically is not an option. That's 1 in every 6 people in the world who have some type of disability. But this exclusion isn't just about space. We see it across the board in all STEM fields. In the United States, for example, only 3% of STEM professionals have some type of disability, a drastic drop from the 16% represented. And this is despite the fact that the US is one of only 50% of the world's countries that has anti-discrimination laws in place. So countries with and without these legal protections are failing to create opportunities for the next generation of diverse scientists. And this is an issue that we're trying to address today to build a better future for the next generation. We're doing this through a global nonprofit I founded called SciAccess, which focuses on 4 key pillars to advance disability inclusion, equity, and justice in the STEM fields. We focus on outreach, mentorship, innovation, and advocacy. And our ultimate goal is to be able to break down walls between disability and science on Earth and beyond it. To tell you a little bit more about this, I'll highlight a few of our key programs. The first of which is an annual conference that takes place each year, connecting hundreds of scientists, disabled students, disability advocates, and educators to share best practices when it comes to STEM accessibility, both in terms of education and outreach and research. For example, how can we make our laboratories and our STEM classrooms more inclusive, and what does that change look like? This is a truly international community that has connected folks from 54 countries and all 7 continents. And the feedback we've received from attendees includes really impactful statements, such as seeing and hearing from so many disabled people in STEM told me I can do it, I can keep going. This conference is more important to me than you'll ever know. And my motivations to keep working towards big goals and dreams in astronomy were sparked again by this conference. It was actually life-changing. And I think we receive this feedback about it being life-changing because this isn't just an event. It's a community of support and critical representation where that representation isn't found elsewhere. And in order to create further opportunities for disabled students to see science representatives that look like them, we provide key mentorship opportunities for people from anywhere in the world. One of these programs is called Zenith, and it allows blind and low vision students from anywhere on the globe to connect with mentors and to be able to participate in once-in-a-lifetime opportunities, like actually talking to astronauts live from space on the International Space Station, which we hosted with NASA. We also provide tactile home kits for students so that they can learn about space through the sense of touch. 3D printed galaxies and constellation domes allow each of these students to have at-home resources that they get to keep and share with others in their communities. But access isn't just about learning about space. As I mentioned in the beginning, my goal is to actually change the definition of who gets to go to space and to redefine what we think of as an astronaut. And that's what our latest project, AstroAccess, is actively doing. We have conducted 5 zero-gravity missions to date, with more planned. During these zero-gravity missions, people experience true weightlessness, and they actually float for bursts of 30 seconds. And during this time, we have disabled scientists who have been competitively selected from all around the world to do research with us in zero gravity, not just to experience weightlessness and to demonstrate that, yes, people with all disabilities can do so safely, but to actually tackle real-world questions on how we can be changing space architecture, space systems, and space stations to allow access. On the slide behind me, you see folks with different types of prosthetic arms and legs doing mobility demonstration, testing out customized handholds that work better for different types of arms and different types of limbs. You see deaf ambassadors doing sign language research upside down and testing out different communication techniques. You see deaf researchers looking at tactile navigation. And while there's a wide, diverse range of experiments, the common thread is this idea idea that inclusive design is redundant design. By having these different multi-sensory experiences, we actually create a safer system. For example, if the lights go out and you can't see, having a tactile way to get to your emergency equipment, or having a visual way to communicate if your comm systems fail, create a better system for everyone, meaning that accessibility isn't just the right thing to do because it's equitable, it's also the right thing to do because it's a safer, better system for everyone. Thank you.
Great program, thank you. Just curious, who is advising you from the scientific end of things? Are you affiliated with universities or laboratories around the world? Or who is doing that?
Absolutely, yeah. So we have a network of over 30 partner organizations that we work with, including an advisory team that includes numerous astronauts, CEOs of space companies, the former Director General of the European Space Agency, and many other prestigious members of the space and disability advocacy communities, which I think is the real power of the program, is being able to be a bridge connecting those voices at a shared space. Thank you.
You're working with NASA, but there's a lot of private companies that are now working to provide access to space, and it seems they sometimes might work with elderly people or others who are not. So is there any interest from that side? And it appears they would be a good client.
Absolutely. I'm so excited you asked that, because when we look at the world population, as I mentioned, we have the 16%. But when you look at the 60 and up population around the world, 46% of people have some type of disability. 1 and 2. And these commercial companies are targeting folks who are going to be older because they're more likely to be in the wealth bracket for their first wave of customers. So absolutely, there's an extreme commercial viability to being accessible and to doing so from the start. And so I'm really proud to share that AstroAccess is actively talking to every commercial company currently involved in sending people to space. And we've had opportunities to actually come out and meet with their astronaut training teams to share our knowledge and expertise on accessibility and bring our disability advocates into their spaces and interacting with their hardware.
Do you work with ESA and their astronaut disability programs?
Yeah, great question. So we don't have an official partnership with ESA, but it's really notable to mention that they recently selected the first astronaut with a prosthetic leg. So definitely there's some extreme overlap there, and we do have partners and collaborators who are part of the ESA network. So I think that's a really exciting next step. I also wanted to share, I think, while I've talked about a lot of things that have, high technology solutions or, maybe more complex, I also wanted to emphasize that I think accessibility is really just a mindset shift, and it's something that can be just, as easy as thinking outside the box. And so one of the examples I give is that we did a workshop with the Office of Astronomy for Development in Cape Town. And while I brought all of these awesome 3D models and the students loved them, this School of Blind students was actually most impacted by the scale model of the solar system I had made the night before, with a basketball as my Jupiter. And when I placed the tiny speck of Play-Doh that was Pluto in their hands, they literally squealed with joy. And I think it's that joy and that excitement that drives the work we do in science engagement. Thank you. Thank you. See ya. Thanks.